So I know at this point, if you've been keeping up with the gaming news even a little bit, you'd have somewhat of an idea of where the industry is headed and, where we are as a subculture and whatnot. Now, if you're on Reddit or Twitter a lot, I mean, hopefully not, but you're most likely familiar with buzzwords like DEI, woke, gooners, and chuds, and all that good stuff. So basically, there is a divide in the gaming space, where we have on one side the regular gamers who just want a good game, and on the other side there are the, I guess we can call them the modern audience, who are extremely adamant on dumbing down the aesthetics of gaming characters. And when I say characters, I mean just female characters. The justification is that they want to normalize the portrayal of an average woman in video games so we can feel more immersed in the realism, the reality that ironically gamers are trying to escape. And if you disagree with that notion, you will earn a derogatory label, among other things, and if you happen to be a popular creator or whatever, you'll suffer even worse treatment. A couple of examples I can think of would be Concord and Star Wars Outlaws. Both of these games were released in 2024, and to say the reception was mixed is an understatement. You've more than likely heard enough about Concord, so I won't go into the dirty details, but it's one of the things that prove character design is critical to a game, especially one with a high budget. The characters all look like GTA NPCs, all soulless and ugly, and what's funny is I believe they were also trying to sell cosmetics for these guys. Like, why would anyone spend even more money to look worse? And I mean, the gameplay wasn't terrible, I admit, but it was also generic. There was nothing that stood out. Nothing that I couldn't get from Overwatch or Apex Legends. But the point is, character design is an important threshold for many players, including myself, and if I don't like how my protagonist looks, I probably wouldn't bother giving the gameplay a chance. And same with Star Wars Outlaws, where the main character was heavily criticized for how ugly she looks, but most of it was for the developer's decision to make her that way on purpose. And honestly, it couldn't have been more obvious. Everyone knows these studios have more than the technology and budget and skills to make an attractive character, but they choose not to. You don't have to be a developer to understand that, and that's what makes people upset. One of the latest examples of politics in gaming is Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This game not only slaps your characters with the ugly stick, it goes full throttle with identity agendas, hits you with a frying pan full of lectures and rainbows. I mean, it literally ignores everything that would immerse you as a fantasy RPG should and replace them with modern-day messaging. It's almost like the game was never meant to be fun or to be played at all. And that brings us to the point of this video. Basically, with everything you've been seeing in the gaming industry, it's not going to stop. If you plan to stick around as a dedicated gamer or a die-hard fan, you need to be ready for a change, and not a good change. I think it's gotten to a point where the studios don't really care about the sales. It was less about the money and more about the exposure. Nothing generates more buzz and attention than controversies, and businesses thrive on that whether you vote with your wallet or not. Think advertisement, but way less effort and money. All they have to do now is inject some politics and whatever hot topic of the day is into one of their games, and they have free advertisement and PR across social media. It's not about selling the game in question, but bringing attention to their brand and their platform. Believe it or not, there are tons of gamers who have never played a BioWare game or a Naughty Dog game or what have you, and since they're active on social media, they get curious about the Dragon Age franchise and start looking into the BioWare catalog. And of course, the old Dragon Age games are really good. Or if they never tried an EA game, they might start checking out other titles like Jedi Survivor. And guess what? It's also a lot better than the Veilguard, so why not stick around? And if they have never played a Naughty Dog game, for example, they might hear about the Intergalactic trailer and how it's so bad, and start to wonder if all Naughty Dog games are like that. And then, oh look, The Last of Us, let's try that. And guess what? It's a good game, and now they're buying The Last of Us 2. The point is, just because a game or franchise is popular, it doesn't mean it has reached everyone. And these studios know that. And if they have never managed to reach those audiences through traditional marketing, how would they reach them now? By using the same method. And big companies like Activision, EA, and Sony can afford to throw a couple of flops down the drain for the sake of bringing more attention to their platform. It's cheaper than advertisement. They're not trying to sell those games, they're trying to sell the ones they already have. And now you're probably thinking, okay, what about Black Myth Wukong and Astro Bot? They're not woke, and they sold millions. Well, Astrobot won Game of the Year and Black Myth won Best Action Game and many other awards. That's two games out of like 100 games that released in the same year. And Black Myth Wukong is based on an extremely well-known series called Journey to the West that's got decades of content and pretty much the whole world knows about it. Of course it's going to do well. Not every game will have that kind of background and foundation to build upon. And game publishers will not bank on that. They always choose the most effective and cost-efficient method available, and that's you and your ideologies. The way this works is similar to Disney and all of their shenanigans. You see how pretty much all their movies and shows in recent years have basically flopped, and yet somehow they're still selling crazy amounts of merchandise and still pretty much gained subscribers and audiences. We got everyone on YouTube saying Disney is going broke for getting woke. They're not. In fact, even if every movie Disney releases in the future flops, it would take them 100 years to even begin to slow down. That's how big they are, and their revenues don't come from movies, but rather the merchandise and park tickets. So the next time you see someone say Disney is done or broke, they're just farming views and clicks. But see, Disney needs to keep making movies and shows because it keeps whatever good stuff they already have relevant and alive. They still need to sell toys and park admissions, so all of their social agendas and politics are pretty much free to make. And this is the same with gaming companies who could afford to lose some money now and make way more in the long run. But okay, it's not doom and gloom for all gamers. I'm not saying all we'll ever get is sloppy political nonsense. No, that's not the case. There will still be blockbusters that cater to those who just want a good experience. After all, they're the actual audience and not the Twitter users. Game studios will need to maintain some sort of balance and profit margins. If they release slop as advertisement for their brand, they will need to have a good product to justify those slops. It's a cycle where everyone thinks they're in control, but in reality, it's the economy that dictates all their moves. Just know that we will still get good games, just far more less frequently than before, and the only way to get to them is to wade through the dense swamp of garbage. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.